a southern state. The scorching heat presses down like a judgment, and the air is thick with unspoken rage. Every corner of this city remembers how quickly hatred can ignite. Here, prejudice wears a uniform and rides behind flashing lights. An elderly white police officer, infamous for his cruelty and deep-seated racism, patrols the streets with eyes hungry for suspicious figures. He's not looking for justice, he's looking for someone to crush. Then he spots him. A young black man, just 18, athletic build, dressed in a black hoodie and ripped jeans, walking home after basketball practice. He breaks no laws. He minds his own business. But to the officer, he's already guilty. The cruiser screeches to a stop. Red lights flare. The siren screams. The young man freezes. His heartbeat races as the tension thickens around him like smoke. He knows all too well. In this city, his skin color is more dangerous than any weapon. And this is only the beginning. He didn't even have time to react. "Hands up! On the ground!" the officer barks, jumping from his car like he's facing a dangerous criminal. The young man raises his hands, slow and shaky. His voice trembles. "I didn't do anything, but it doesn't matter." The white officer already has his baton in hand. One blow to the shoulder, another to the gut. The boy collapses, nearly hitting his head on the curb. His face twists in pain. "Resisting, huh?" the officer yells, twisting his arms behind his back with such force the joints crack. He wasn't resisting. He didn't even have time to ask why he was being arrested. The street is empty, just silence, a siren, and the victim's heavy breathing. Cold handcuffs snap onto his wrists. "You match the description," the officer grunts, not even looking at him. "What description?" he gasps. "Black in black? That's enough?" The officer grabs his radio. He doesn't know, can't know, who this young man really is. He thinks he's just another suspect, another nobody, another one to humiliate without consequence. Let's take a short pause. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Have you ever experienced something like this in your life? Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next stories. And now we continue. He doesn't know there's a street cam recording every move. He doesn't know that in 10 minutes, someone's coming for this boy. Someone who will shake the entire department to its core. Screaming sirens, blue and red lights flashing, the street buzzed with chaos, cars slowed, people stepped out of stores with their phones out. The state prosecutor's younger brother was pinned to the ground like a dangerous criminal. His knees trembled. Blood ran from his split lip. The older white officer gripped him by the neck and hissed, "Think you're better than the rest, boy? Let's see how you sing in a cell." The 18-year-old didn't resist. He was in shock. He was just walking home from college, textbooks in his backpack. Now, handcuffs on his wrists. People recorded. No one stepped in. The officer's eyes burned with arrogance. He was enjoying every second. "On your knees!" the officer shouted, shoving him. The boy collapsed. Laughter echoed from the bystanders. Someone shouted, "He didn't do anything!" But the cop smirked. "I said shut up. He's a suspect. That's all I need. Cruelty, humiliation, power unchecked." No one could have imagined that just minutes later, this officer's world would begin to unravel. The crowd kept recording. The boy was still on his knees, head down, blood dripping onto the pavement. The officer paced around him like a predator, relishing the humiliation. He kicked the boy's backpack, spilling textbooks everywhere. "What, you can read?" "Not going to help you now," the cop smirked, tapping him with his baton. Then suddenly, the roar of a black SUV cut through the scene. It stopped sharply at the curb. A tall man stepped out. Sharp suit, calm expression, but eyes filled with cold fury. The street fell silent. Even the cop hesitated, confused. "Take your hands off him," the man said quietly, yet with undeniable authority. "Who the hell are you to—" the cop started, but then someone in the crowd whispered, "That's Samuel James, the state prosecutor." The atmosphere shifted instantly. "I said, take. "Your hands off him." The man repeated, firm and commanding. The officer slowly backed away. The boy on the ground lifted his eyes. He saw his brother, and in that moment hope returned to his face. But this was just the beginning. Samuel walked slowly to his brother, never taking his eyes off the officer. He helped him up gently, his gaze flicking over the bruises, the blood, the broken pride. "You okay?" he asked softly. The boy nodded, too shaken to speak. Samuel turned. "Name, rank. Now?" The officer scoffed, trying to keep his authority. "You can't just—" "I'm the state prosecutor. I can do more than just, especially when one of my officers assaults my brother in broad daylight, and on camera. Phones were everywhere, every word, every second, recorded." The cop started to sweat. "I didn't know who he was. I thought he was—" "You thought his skin made him a criminal. That's all you thought." Samuel stepped in, their faces inches apart. "As of today, you're no longer a cop, and starting tomorrow, you'll be a defendant." He pulled out his phone and dialed. "I need a warrant. Civil rights violation, excessive force, assault. All of it is on tape. I want full prosecution." The officer went pale. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. The crowd cheered. For the first time, justice felt possible. But even they didn't know. This was only the beginning. The footage spread like wildfire. The moment the officer shoved the young black man to the ground and then discovered he was the brother of the state prosecutor, hit the internet hard. Millions watched. Hashtags exploded. Comments poured in. "This is the real America." Finally, someone fought back. How many more like him are out there? Inside the police department, chaos reigned. Leadership scrambled to control the narrative, but Samuel wasn't backing down. He held a press conference. Journalists flooded the building. "This is not an isolated case," he declared. "This is a pattern, and I intend to break it." But the darkness wasn't just in the streets. It was behind closed doors. A note appeared in Samuel's office. No name, one word. "Stop." Then an unmarked car lingered outside his brother's house. A smashed window, anonymous calls. Silence on the other end. The message was clear: back off. Meanwhile, the investigation into the officer took a sharp turn. Old complaints resurfaced. Excessive force, racial profiling, internal cover-ups. Everything had been buried. Until now. Samuel realized he wasn't just fighting a bad cop. He was staring down an entire corrupt network. But this time, he had a reason that was both personal and public. "They think I'll be scared," he told his brother. "I'll make him the face of a broken system they can't hide anymore." What he didn't know, the system wasn't going to fall quietly. It was going to fight back, dirty, loud, and deadly. The morning headlines were a gut punch. The city's biggest newspaper ran a photo of Samuel with a brutal caption: "Prosecutor or personal avenger? Is justice being twisted?" TV networks picked it up fast. Did the prosecutor use his position for revenge? The officer was just doing his duty. Was the teen really innocent? Samuel was under siege. Old cases were suddenly being re-reviewed. His staff were questioned. He was summoned to a closed-door ethics hearing. This wasn't coincidence. It was retaliation, a coordinated takedown. "They think smearing me will make me fold, but I'm not backing down," he told his brother. Then an anonymous flash drive arrived. A secret video from inside a police briefing room. The same officer, laughing. "That dumb kid didn't even know who he was messing with. We always protect our own. Always." Samuel's hands shook. "This is it. Real evidence. We can take them down." But the flash drive came with a price. His car was torched. His brother was followed. His phone was tapped. Neighbors started getting strange visits. Then came the warning. Unofficial, but unmistakable. "Stop, or you and your family disappear." That's when someone reappeared. Someone he hadn't heard from in years. Someone who knew the system from the inside and who was ready to betray it. When you fight the system, you count only on yourself. But sometimes a shadow from the past can change everything. Samuel recognized him instantly. James Lawrence, former FBI agent, black, vanished 7 years ago under mysterious circumstances. Some said he went crazy. Others whispered he was silenced. "You remember me," James said, walking in like no door could stop him. "You disappeared," Samuel replied. "You weren't even in the system." I walked away because staying meant becoming part of it. But now that they're after you, I can't stay silent anymore. He dropped a folder on the table, a real archive, video files, audio recordings, testimonies from officers who were removed for speaking out. The boy arrested, just one of many. Same officers, same tactics, same forged charges. Samuel sat in silence. "Why are you showing me this now?" "Because you're the only one with the guts to go all the way, and if they take you down, they win forever." They started moving, quietly, encrypted channels, hidden contacts, each step revealing more rot, buried files, deleted reports, undercover plans. But the deeper they dug, the more dangerous it became. Then came the call, a voice from an untraceable number. "You've got 48 hours. After that, you're next." But Samuel wasn't alone anymore. He had someone beside him who understood the system and knew exactly how to tear it apart. Silence was no longer an option. Samuel and James decided to strike first. They leaked the files to an independent media outlet. A secret dossier, each file a scream for justice, a clip where a white cop beats a black teen, whispering, "You were born guilty." Audio of a silent detainee while the officer lies in the report. Video showing a resisting suspect who hasn't moved in over 3 minutes. It was a bombshell. Social media exploded. By morning, thousands had taken to the streets, signs in hand, anger in their hearts. But the system struck back. The police chief appeared on live TV. "These files are fake, deep fakes, anti-police propaganda." They tried to arrest Samuel, planted drugs in his car, but it was too late. He had already given the files to journalists. He didn't flinch, because the truth was out. But then they came for James. He disappeared. Phone, dead. Samuel felt fear, not for himself, but for the man who risked everything. 36 hours passed. Breaking news. Body found in abandoned house. Suspected homicide. Identity unknown. No, it can't be him. On James's laptop, one final message. "If you're reading this, I'm gone. But don't stop. Keep going. If you quit now, they win all of us." Samuel clenched his fists. Tears filled his eyes. He was no longer just a brother, no longer just a prosecutor. He was the last line of defense. The morning sky was gray, mourning with Samuel. But he wouldn't break. He knew this day would change everything. At James's funeral, silence reigned. Only their mother held a portrait of her son while the father stood still, fists clenched. Samuel stepped forward. He gave his life for the truth. Now it's our turn. The next day, Samuel held a press conference. Surrounded by reporters, he spoke into the microphone. "I am pressing charges against over 10 officers, including the police chief. We have video, audio, testimonies. We will be silent no more. Not in this city, not in this state." The crowd erupted, but it was only the beginning. The trial began. Public, televised. Each day, witnesses came forward. They told of beatings, threats, racist insults. A young black woman's voice trembled. "He called me an animal and laughed while breaking my arm." A teenage boy. "They made me lie in a puddle and kiss their boots." The coroner confirmed. James's death was no accident. It was murder, covered up. Officers broke down. One tried to flee. One tried to end his life. But it was too late. And then, Verdict day. The judge entered. The crowd rose. Silence. Officer Martins, guilty of racial violence, abuse of power, and murder. Police chief, guilty on all counts. All sentenced to the maximum penalty. The courtroom exploded with joy. People hugged, cried, cheered. Samuel looked up to the sky. "This is for you, brother. We did it, and now they can't silence us." The city began to change. People started speaking up, defending each other. One day, a little boy said to Samuel, "I want to be like you, brave." And that was the victory, not just the prison cells, but the moment when fear gave way to hope and hate to justice.